Hey there, guys. It's Sean with Not a Competition. I'm here with my good buddy, Maru.
How's it going, everybody? Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, we thank you as always. Mario, would you like to fill me in on how your Easter Sunday went?
Buddy, it was great. Thank you for asking.
No
So
problem.
I watched like kind of a running theme from last week, but I watched a movie for the first time. I watched
For the first time, never seen a movie before. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear about his first movie watching experience.
So I watched Space Jam. I'd never seen it before.
It's a good start. It's a good one to
And-
start on.
I gotta say one thing, like a few things, but first off, it's like this movie was just designed so that Michael Jordan could just prove that he was better than all of the other stars around his time. He's like, yo, what if aliens came down, became as good as the other players I play against, and I had to single-handedly beat them?
Right. Yeah, for sure. And he's like, it's like that debate, like, oh, what kind of animals could you beat up? Or like, if you had to pick one person to defend the world, if aliens came and challenged us to basketball, who would it be? And he's sitting there like, clearly me. So much so that even if they took all your guys' powers, I'd still win.
I love that. And then it also got me thinking, it's like, there's no other sport that has this kind of, like, premise, right? Like, Tom Brady didn't come out with a movie about how, like, aliens came and took a whole bunch of other football players, and now he has to beat them in, like, a game of backyard football.
Only one comes to mind, and that is also basketball and also Michael Jordan's shoes in Like Mike have magical powers that make him really
So
good.
Michael Jordan has just cornered the sports movie market, is what
Right.
I'm hearing.
He's like, not only do I beat aliens, but if you wear my shoes, you will inherit my powers. A modern day Samson. Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad you had a good weekend. I'm glad you saw. I'm surprised you haven't seen it already. It seems like it's up your alley.
Just getting
But-
ready for the new one coming out. Which
Right.
that's not a plug, but LeBron, my DMs are always open.
Right. I think the movie's already done being made. But also, you're just in time to rage about Lola Bunny's cleavage getting minimized in this movie.
Gosh.
So, take that what you will. Let's just jump into Will You Press the Button here for this week. Our first question here is going to be, you become the king of mankind. Anything you decide is law, but you are permanently blinded.
Ooh. I like this one. I like the definitely a heavy consequence here. And I kind of like it because, like, if I'm
Yes.
king, I could just, like, decide that, like, hey, we need to be, like, blind forward society. Like, all scientists must work on, like, just improving Braille 2.0 and
Yeah.
self-driving cars, all this jazz.
You could
Yeah.
even be like, by law, you all have to be blind. And then
everyone
make
just
them
get-
all blind themselves.
Everyone has to get, like, lasers to the eyes. Like,
Right.
and so I'm kind of digging this. And this is something where it's like you can't be fired from. So it's like no matter how terrible of a job you do at being king, like they can't fire you because of the magic of the button.
Right.
So I'm all in on this. I'm slam-a-jamming this button.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one for me. I don't want to be blind, It's a big, like you said, a big cost to pay. King of mankind is also like, there's a lot that goes with that. Either like, people have to listen to what I say, which is basically like slavery. Or the other thing is I could be overthrown, basically. And if you're king of mankind, the amount of people who want to overthrow you has got to be high. And I'm blind. So, like, it's tougher. I got to really trust these guys around me. So I don't think I'd do it. That's just too big of a life change for me, I think. I'm going to pass on that one. But I will click the button for you in honor of Mario.
Thanks.
And
Mike.
again, Mario, against the grain, 39% said yes, 61% said no. Yeah, the comments are pretty much a cesspool. Like, nothing of interest here. I'd be the world's first female king, someone said. Declare you are not blind, making a new law for reality. Whoa. Those are those kind of people who, like, stretch everything out. But let's take a look at our second one here. You can hypnotize anybody you want, forcing them to do anything for 1 hour. But they get hypnotized. They get to hypnotize you for 1 hour afterwards.
Okay.
This is an interesting one, I think.
What do you think? Where are you leaning on this?
I haven't decided yet. I'm trying to work it out in my head first. So, like, first you have to be like, if I hypnotize someone, what would I want them to do?
I teach you how to juggle. I would want them to juggle for me, like a jester. Maybe go get my groceries, do my laundry.
Right. And then what would they have you do? Like, what if they just made you send all the money in your bank account to them? And you're like, I made them juggle. So it's like you're giving this person a lot of power, and the worst part is they go second.
They go second. That was a big thing, because like even if you try to come up with something diabolical, right? It's like they get the second. They get to respond basically.
Right. And my thought is like, there's a couple things people do when they want to hypnotize someone. One, which is probably the most common thing on this website, is I'm gonna make this person have sex with me. Based off all the other will you press the buttons out here, I know the mind of this website, people are thinking that. But if you were to do that, they can mind control you to jump off a cliff and murder yourself, like kill yourself afterwards. So like anybody who thinks that, first of all, you're fucked up for thinking in the first place, and second of all, you'll get your comeuppance afterwards. So then I'm like, what other uses are there in hypnotism here? And I'm like, I could make like Bill Gates give me all his money, or give me a decent amount of money. But then he'll just make me do that. Like, he'll just make me give it back to him. So
I don't know how that hold up in a court of law. If he was like, I was hypnotized.
Right. Well, it depends. If the courts of law like recognize hypnotism as an actual thing, they would have to say that it's real in order to rule in that favor, and I don't know that they will. My other thing that could possibly get me out of that scenario is if I have him give me cash and then I hide it, but then he could hypnotize me to tell me where it is.
To tell you where it is. So it's
okay,
like,
here's my last catch.
Okay.
He transfers the money to me. I can't transfer that money back until it clears. So it won't clear by the time he's done hypnotizing me.
And I'm sure he'll just like leave you alone. He'll just be like, well, like that's all I could do, and he would just like forget about it entirely.
He could change my will to be like, even in the event of suicide, I leave all my money to Bill Gates, and then just tell me to kill myself,
and then
get his money back.
You're Jeffrey Epstein, and you're just like, yeah, we know what happened.
Yeah, and he's like, that's 2, baby. I'm gonna say no. Going first is bad. If I go second, it's still like risky because they could they kill me and then I don't even get a turn? I don't know. This one seems risky. I don't want to be under anyone's power for an hour.
Yeah, good rhyme. This one's a no for me, dog. For a lot of things you just said.
This is the first comment. This could turn into kinky shit. What'd I tell you? You just hypnotize them into rebuking their hypnotizing period. Shut the fuck up. I'm tired of these
guys always looking through these loopholes.
Hypnotize them and make them sign an agreement stating that they won't hypnotize you ever. That one I like a little better. You take Bill Gates, you just take like $3 million from him. Something he's not like that upset about in the first place, but he would want it back. And then you make him sign an agreement that if he hypnotizes you, he has to give you $100 million, and he'll just be like, you know what, the $3 million's a loss. I'm fine with that.
Oh my gosh,
that's what I'm hoping. If you want to be cheeky, but both of us decided not to, and it's a pretty even split: 51% would, 49% wouldn't, and then the comments again are just a cesspool.
Yeah, just a whole bunch of loopholes and jargon, things like that.
Well, let's move on from Will You Press the Button, and let's take a look at some brackets.
All right, what was the bracket theme this week?
Well, both the bracket and the tier list this week revolve around the same thing. That will be, was it robots or just vehicles? Like machinery, I want to say, is kind of the theme this week.
Yeah, we got robot brackets, and then vehicle tier lists.
Absolutely. So for our robot bracket here, we've taken some pop culture icon robots like Roomba and the Iron Giant and those of the sort. For those of you listening at home, I thought of something that might be useful for you guys. I'm just going to name everybody in the bracket so that you know what's going on. We got Awesemo from South Park against Bumblebee in the first round. Terminator versus R2-D2. We got Megatron versus the robot from Robots the movie. We have Iron Giant versus Bender. Then on the other side of the bracket, we have Rosie versus Jenny the Teenage Robot. We have a Roomba versus the Mars Lander. Perseverance, to be exact.
Yep.
We have Mr. Krabs Bot, I'm going to call him, versus Wally. And C-3PO versus Claptrap. So that's our competitors in a fight to the death here. So Mario, you want to take us through your left side of your bracket here?
Yeah, left side. So my final four, I'll say really quick, like who got there. We got Bumblebee from Transformers, Iron Giant from the Iron Giant.
That would be my bracket.
That is your bracket.
But great choices. They should have made it there
gosh.
on yours as well.
You're right. Yeah, honestly, this position tripped me out.
You sounded so confident.
Here we go. We have R2-D2, the Megazord from Power Rangers, not Megatron. Then we have Rosie from the Jetsons and the Mr. Krabs robot. That's my final four. And that one sounds a lot better. Just saying it aloud, like, it makes more sense.
Really?
Okay.
Interesting. Tell us about the guys on the left. R2-D2 and
Megazord.
Almost did it again.
Perfect. So, R2-D2, his road to the Final Four. First round, he went up against Terminator. Now,
Yes.
what I'm thinking is that R2-D2 is a robot from, like, the super future. So, I'm thinking he is the matchup against this, like, tin can that is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So, I'm going to put a hole in your whole plan right here.
Okay.
R2-D2 is from a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, but it's practically future.
Oh. He's so old that it basically looped around.
It's like time's a circle, right? So if you go back
Sure.
enough, like we're just like doing a lap. So R2-D2 beats the Terminator, and then he beats Bumblebee, of the robot from the Transformers. What I'm thinking here is that Bumblebee just gets towed, and then, I mean, that's it, because he parked in a no-park zone.
Right.
Easy
right.
as pie.
And he's just like, tow me away. Take me.
I mean, he's a law-abiding robot, you know? Like, he wouldn't...
That's
He
fair.
wouldn't disregard the law. Okay, other side, we got the Megazord from Power Rangers. In the first round, he beat the robot from the movie Robots. I don't know his name.
That's an upset victory.
I don't know what... who plays this robot, like voice actor wise? I want to say Robin Williams, just by the way this robot looks.
Also, but I've never seen this movie.
Haven't seen it. I'm sure it's a gem. So, anyways, the Megazord has to fight Bender from Futurama in the second round. Bender got there from beating Iron Giant. I know what you're thinking at home. Iron Giant, like, he's massive. Like, how does he lose? He's not a weapon. Like, that's kind of like his ending line in the movie is like, he's not a gun. He's not a tool of destruction. So I think Iron Giant just kind of like peacefully just surrenders here. So that's how Bender moved on. So yeah, Megazord beats Bender because again, you can't teach big.
Yeah, that's some of your greatest logic you've had in one of these.
It's soundproof, and then again, it makes so much more sense when I look at this bracket versus.
I accept that as a fair argument.
Okay, so that's my left side of my bracket. You want to dive into yours?
Sure. Let's pull up my far superior bracket here. I'm going to expand that baby. So for my left side, I had Bumblebee come out of the top left. He took down Awesemo in the first round. My brain was raking for like some sort of logic of how Awesemo could win just for the meme pick. But he never does anything crazy in the TV show. In the video games, he probably does, but in the TV show, he didn't. So I had to have Bumblebee win by just stepping on him, and then Terminator easily beat R2-D2 because he's an old dumpster. I love him as a character, but he's more of a puppy dog than he is like a killing machine. And Bumblebee was able to take down Terminator. Terminator's got a lot of skill, but he's small, and Bumblebee can beat him.
Bumblebee just stepping on people.
He that's all he needs in those first 2 rounds. And after he's done doing that, it gets a little more difficult for him. On the bottom, I had the Iron Giant come out. While I appreciate your logic of him, his mindset being I will not fight, he spends like a lot of that movie doing fights. So like, he may not be a gun, but he certainly looks like one. And so Iron Giant took down Bender in the first round, even by accident stepping on him. And then in the second round, he took down the Megazord. This is a tougher match for me, but watching Power Rangers a lot as a kid, that he was a clunky robot because it was just a man in a box suit. He kind of moves like Osimo. He moves like Osimo and like falls down, like his arms wiggle at his side. He's not like very like high intensity movements. He's slow and steady. So Iron Giant took him down. I'll go into my right side here while I got it up. Yeah. I got Jenny moving on from the top right. Jenny the Teenage Robot. She's like a superhero robot. She's got like cool weapons and stuff like that, and she's like flies around. She took on Rosie. Easy dub in the first round. Again, like Osimo, I thought it could be cool if Rosie somehow won, but I just couldn't think of any reason she would. And then in the second round, this fairly easy bracket, she took on the Perseverance Mars rover here, and easily beat it. It doesn't have attacks, and it just scans rocks. So that was easy. Mr. Krabs' bot was able to take down Wally in the first round. They're very similar robots, both just like waddle around, or I guess wheel around. But Krabs' bot has claw pincher hands, which I thought would be more useful than Wally's stubby hands. And then in the second round, he took down Claptrap, who almost has the same hands as Wally. So it really came down to a hands matchup. Also, Claptrap is significantly stupider than Wally. So I think we could pull it off. And then it's like, does Claptrap have a gun? If so, does he accidentally shoot himself because he's an idiot? So it's kind of a null advantage to him. So that's how Krabs' bot moved on to my final 4, giving me Bumblebee and Iron Giant, and Jenny the Teenage Robot and Mr. Krabs.
Love it.
Yeah, why don't you dive into your right side here?
Yeah, okay, so starting in upper right, we had Rosie from the Jetsons taking down Jenny from My Life as a Teenage Robot. The way I'm seeing, like, you're saying this is a meme pick, but it's like, Rosie ain't stopping till like she cleans like the floor with you, is my thinking. Like she's amazing.
Right. And that makes that's a good line, but also like she ain't starting.
Also, like, again, I feel like just being a robot from the future, I think you get a lot of credit. Because you probably made a better medals, you probably have better hand-to-hand combat skill training. Like, they just program you with self-defense.
Right. To protect the home. Protect Elroy.
Elroy, that's the family. So, yes, so Rosie moves on. Rosie to fight the Mars rover. And kind of like what you said, like, what is the Mars rover going to do? Like, it's there for science, and somehow the Mars rover did beat a Roomba vacuum, but that was just, like, the matchup of the century.
This top bracket is just 3 janitors and Jenny the Teenage Robot. It's like the Mars rover's cleaning up Mars's floor, picking up rocks. The Roomba's cleaning your living room, and this lady's cleaning the Jetsons' house. Rosie,
okay. Bottom side of this bracket, I had Mr. Krabs' bot move on. Mr. Krabs' bot, which I think that was our first and only match.
Right, yes.
So Mr.
Except
Krabs,
for the 2 times you read my people and didn't even understand that was not who you chose.
It sounded so confusing to me. Like, I was just thinking, like, I must have had a fever dream while I was filming this thing out. So, Mr. Krabs, again, he's got, like, the pincer attack, but he also has, like, the formuloli, like, ravioli, give me the formuloli. So I like that. I like that he can rhyme.
It sounds like he doesn't have the formuloli. He's asking for it.
But I like to just think that the request alone would kind of, like, overwhelm his competition. Like, so he goes against C3PO in round 2. Defeated Claptrap because, like, Claptrap, I think he just, like, I imagine that there's stairs on the way into the arena, and
Mm-hmm.
for those that have played the Borderlands games, Claptrap cannot defeat stairs. So he's just
I don't
like,
know that C-3PO could as well because he's the biggest moron I've ever seen. Like, I get Jar Jar Binks is the worst, but like C-3PO is such a nerd. I don't I don't trust him to beat anybody.
So that's the thing. But just by showing up, he beat Claptrap. And then,
That's
exactly,
fair.
he gets overwhelmed by just a rhyme that the Crabsbot says. So then Crabsbot advances to the final four, giving us a bracket of R2-D2, Megatron, Rosie from the Jetsons, and Mr. Crabsbot is the final
So
four.
many of your points for why people win are the exact opposite of what they should be. Like R2-D2's from the future, and it's like, nah, he's from the past. And then it's like, Crabsbot overwhelms C-3PO with some language trick, and C-3PO is like a language droid who knows like a million languages and is programmed to understand everything, but he couldn't understand the formula only.
Oh my gosh. And I mean, C-3PO, like, is he from the same future as R2-D2? Yes, but also no, and that's why he wasn't as tough as the Crabsbot.
He's from the past, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Hear me out. Look, your Crabsbot, excellent pick. I have the same one as you. And I think your Megazord is a good pick as well. I like your theory on Iron Giant. And if that is the case, that he goes a passive route, I think you made the right choices there. So, like, 2 of your 4 are, like, fair in my point of view, which is, like, you know, breaking new ground for you.
Record high.
Yeah, then you got the memes up top.
Okay, speaking of memes, I'm just going to dive into these final
Yeah,
four matchups
go
to
for
bring
it.
us home.
Bring us
So,
home.
left side, R2-D2 versus Megatron. So this one, well, kind of lean into your entire argument for the left side, but, like, you can't teach big, right? And at the end of the day, like, the Megazord is 5 robots in one. And, I mean,
Little
5 is
cheating.
bigger than
Little
1.
cheating.
5 is just a bigger number than 1, right? So,
Math victory.
and that's fitting for robots. They love math. Then you
That's
got
true.
the other side, Rosie from the Jetsons versus Mr. Krabs. This is a point in the bracket when I remembered, oh yeah, Mr. Krabs doesn't have the Formuloli. He's trying to acquire it.
Right.
And I like to think that that just kind of like puts him in shambles. Like, I remembered the ending of that episode where he was just kind of a useless robot.
Right.
So that brings us to our championship matchup, Megatron versus Rosie.
Mm-hmm.
This was close. This was close. I like the attitude, the gushba that Rosie brings to the table, trying to clean the floor with them. That tagline sells. But yeah, 5's just bigger than 1. I think that's what it was at the end of the day. Plus, like, it was a combination, like, the Megazord is kind of like old robots, right? Because it's got, like, a pterodactyl and a mammoth and all these, like, saber-toothed tigers.
So
like,
since they're modeled after dinosaurs, the robot is old.
exactly. So it's like a blast
Gotcha.
from the past.
Gotcha.
And that's what the headline's going to say. It's going to say blast from the past. Megazord takes down Rosie.
I also like how your reasoning for Megazord winning is that he's old, and your reasoning for everybody else winning is that they're from the future.
Ooh, yeah, he's not really old. It's just he's based on old things.
Oh shit, he's a combo package.
So that's it.
Well, that's great. That's great. I think you ended on a good final person. That will bring me into my final 4 here. Bumblebee versus Iron Giants up first. This is a tough one. They're very even competitors, but in the end, I went with the Iron Giant. He's just, he's got heart, and Bumblebee just doesn't. On the right side, I got Jenny the Teenage Robot against Crabsbot, and it was easy for me. Jenny took him down because she has powers, and he's like a very top-heavy little robot. And his pincher claws I think she has laser beams, so like I don't even know if she has to get close enough. So in the end, it was Iron Giant versus Jenny the Teenage Robot. And you can't teach big, but I'm out here with Muggsy Bogues because she's got movement. She can fly circles around this guy. And then she can even go inside of him if she needs to. So I have faith that Jenny the Teenage Robot would win this battle. I wouldn't say it would be an easy one. She could get squashed, but who knows? I think she would be able. She's agile, and I think she'd be able to dodge it. So that's the end of my bracket there. I got Jenny the Teenage Robot taking it home.
Beautiful.
So let's wrap these suckers up. put a bow on it and open up the main event here. These are going to be our tier lists. On the right side, labeled Vroom is Mario's tier list. Vroom. On the left side, labeled My Image is my tier list. Very original. And we have our tiers as always. God tier, it's nice. Mediocre as fuck. Garbo and Shadow Realm. So in this bracket we have vehicles, and for the most part they're land vehicles, cars, trucks, whatever, floaty guys. So I have a couple of things that just hover off the ground, and in one of them being the Koopa car. But in my head, I know it flies around in a lot of the games, but in my head, this is more of a Smash Bros. Style Koopa car where it kind of hovers, and you can get some boosts with it, but it's not a flying vehicle, more of a hover vehicle. And then the other exception is SpongeBob's Boatmobile. That's the only aquatic type of vehicle we have, but it also is a car. So that's why those two have made the cut, while other boats or planes or spaceships have not. So what we did is we ranked them again. We do these rankings based off our favorites or whatever reasoning we want to have. So I'll just say from my point of view, these were coming from the perspective of somebody's you get a car or vehicle from pop culture, and I'm excited, and then they give me blah. And so mediocre as fuck was yes, I like this. That was good. Garbo's yeah, I guess it's a car, whatever. It's kind of on par with an average car. Shadow Realm is I don't even want this. It's nice is oh, this is a good one. I would be excited even more so. I was this is great. And then God tier is this is as good as it could get. I'm not sure if you did something similar, Mario. How did you do your tier here?
Yeah, no, for sure. God tier was just throw me the keys. This is my ride or die. My everyday, my fun car, my all in one.
Right.
It's nice. I mean, this is some novelty, but kind of above average to me.
Sure.
I'd be ecstatic about to have this. Mediocre as fuck is my average. This is cool. Garbo's yeesh. I could spin it to it has some saving qualities in Garbo. It's not just purely trash.
Right.
And then Shadow Realm, it's just I see no positive in owning this. This would only hinder my existence.
Right. I think we're pretty similar. I think my Garbos are a little more my average, and your average is a little more mediocre as fuck for this tier list. But I think we're pretty close on what we're thinking about these guys. So I'm going to do the obvious one here. I'm just going to come out and obviously ask you, my worst car on this list, in the bottom of the Shadow Realm, Lightning McQueen. In your God tier, the highest you have on your list is Lightning McQueen.
Is none other than Lightning McQueen.
I'd love to hear this.
Thing. Yeah, okay, here we go. Lightning McQueen. First, you got a talking car voiced by Owen Wilson.
That's a down. You shouldn't even name that.
This, every time you come up to a red light, your car's just wow.
Yeah, but you also can't drive it.
What do you mean I can't drive it?
He drives himself. He's an autonomous person. There's a soul in it. That one's horrifying. It's not like a Transformer where when it's a car, it's kind of a car that can talk through the radio. This thing is it has eyes. Where are you seeing out of?
I don't need to see. It's a self-driving car. So hold on. So that's another positive. So right here, we've already said two positives. One, it talks to me. But it doesn't just talk to me. It talks to me in Owen Wilson's voice. Two, That's drives worse. For me. It drives for me. It's yo, hey, Lightning McQueen, we gotta go get some milk. So you just hop in and there we go.
All I'm picturing is a long drive home from work. It's you had a tough day. You're just looking to just need some peace and quiet. You're just all right, how was your day? And you're shut up, Lightning. I'm trying to just zone, please. Oh you're always with someone when you're driving. And it's
never lonely.
I don't want it to be Owen Wilson chilling there with me, if I'm honest. And then the other thing is what happens when you're not driving? You think Lightning's just gonna sit in your driveway and chill for fucking hours? No, he's gonna go do everything he wants to do.
I'm taking the keys out of him.
He doesn't have keys. He's just alive. He also has a mouth. Are you gonna feed him?
Yeah, I think you feed it hay instead of giving it gas.
I just don't see any benefit, and I only see like it's almost like I got a pet car.
That sounds like a treat. I don't know, like you get.
But he's as sentient as a human. It it freaks me out.
I'm sorry that my car doubles as a best friend, and you don't find.
I don't want to be best friends with Lightning McQueen. He's a nerd.
And last but not least, like he is like a NASCAR car. Like so, if you need to get somewhere, like you're getting somewhere fast, you're never late to things.
You can't break the speed limit. He'll get pulled over, and then what are you gonna say? It was him, officer.
100%. And then they're gonna be spooked, and then they're just gonna let me go. They'll just want an autograph because it's my talking car, Lightning McQueen, the world famous.
If I had to, and you can see this on my list, if I had to take a talking car, I would have took Kit or whatever Knight Rider's car is, where he just talks and he's like, oh, I don't know. And he just talks in a regular voice. I'd rather have that. He's kind of more robotic and knows his place. You're kind of just like, shut up, Kit. And he'd be like, all right. Where this guy's going to be like, well, I don't know about that.
Oh, see, no, that's a perfect segue because I see in your God tier that you have Bumblebee, where I had Bumblebee and Garbo for kind of a similar reason that you're trying to harp on Lightning McQueen. See, Bumblebee, if, like, let's say I need to, like, go to the store or something, he could be off fighting crime. Like, he's going to know his priorities.
He doesn't fight crime.
100%. What? I've seen the movie.
No, he doesn't. He fights crime.
He fights crime. So
he
it's going
does
to be
not.
like... So, like, there's going to be, like, a Decepticon bank robbery. And, like,
sure, if there's Decepticons, he will fight. But I'm sorry to introduce this into your life, but Decepticons aren't real.
So here I am. Like, I go to Target, I pick up a couple things, and then I go out to the parking lot with my shopping cart, and my car is just gone. And I just see my car on the news just, like, beating someone up.
But it only fights Decepticons, and there are no Decepticons.
See, you say that, but it's like, I feel like if I have my car, if Bumblebee exists, I think the Decepticons are there.
Oh,
and,
well,
and
that brings a whole nother group of rules in there. Lightning McQueen's going to be out at the bar with Tater or whatever the hell the other guys.
Mater. It's Mater. But, yeah, I feel like Bumblebee, like, even if he just sees, like, an old lady getting robbed, he's not going to stand idly by. He's going to go get in the way.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But I think it's cool if he wants to go fight crime. And, like, if I have to be inconvenienced because he saved an old woman's life, oh, God. Pity me, Mario. I have to wait 2 minutes to leave Target because this man's out here saving someone's life.
2 minutes adds up.
He's cool. Yo, just think. Your house is getting robbed? Not anymore. Bumblebee's stopping it. If your house is getting robbed, freaking Lightning McQueen's gonna be like, hey, mate, I don't know if you should do that. Like, it's gonna be a shit show.
He's gonna ram into him at full speed. What do you mean?
No, he's not. He's not a fighter. He's a lover.
Oh, my God. That's what I like
Bumblebee turns into a really cool car, too, and he knows his fucking place. He shuts up because he's a robot. And he doesn't try to talk too much. He can't because his, like, voice, he only talks through the radio. He's more of like a not a human level intelligence, which is what I don't want to own. I don't want to own something that's a human. So I see what you're saying. And maybe Bumblebee's better off and it's nice, but he turns into a really cool car, and he also can turn into any car. Cause like at first he's like a slug bug Volkswagen Beetle type of thing. And he is in the movie he's in with that girl from Pitch Perfect. But then, like, when Shia LaBeouf, like, finds him, he's like, oh, I'll be a Camaro then. Which is cool. Because I could be like, why don't you switch it up and be something else?
Oh, my God.
So, you could have a different car for different days out here.
What I'm hearing is what you like most about Bumblebee compared to Lightning McQueen is that there's no free will in Bumblebee. He just does as you say.
Right. Yes, that's exactly it.
The sentient, equal, like the equal right.
He has free will. Like, he does what he wants, but he's talking as a robot, and he's not like, I don't know. This Bumblebee is the least human of the Transformers in the movie, and it's pretty much because he took his voice away, and so like that's a plus to me because Lightning McQueen is just too. it would feel like I'm sitting inside another man. It would be weird. He'd be like, "Well, how was your day?" I'll be like, "Shut up, Lightning McQueen. I'm just driving home. I don't want your. We're not friends."
Oh my god! All right, so that's Lightning McQueen and Bumblebee. What other things stand out to you here?
Another thing that stood out to me for you was, well, first of all, we spoke on this already. Knight Rider, you have him in It's Nice instead of God Tier, when he has all the qualities Lightning McQueen has.
Oh, see, I didn't think he'd be as much of a best friend. I didn't think he'd be as warm.
He won't. He won't be as warm. That's for sure.
That was a deal breaker for me with Knight Rider. It's like
you wanted a best friend again for the second week in a row. I'm sad for you. Because I think your pick last week was to get a best friend as well or something.
It's just an bonus.
Wasn't it the press the button like with Bill Gates?
Where you get Bill
we're best
Gates.
friends. Yeah. But next to Knight Rider, we have the Wacky Racers guy, in whatever that car is called, with like the shark fin on it. And I want to see what value you see in that.
Oh my gosh! So if I remember from the Wacky Racing cartoon, like you had just some neato gadgets in this car, right? Like you have
like oil slicks and stuff.
Yeah, like I don't know. Plus you get a really cool fin, and now I don't know if the car comes with the fun hat. That I don't remember the villain's name that like drives this car. This is the villain's car.
I forget too. I almost remember the dog more.
Yeah,
like his name more, and he's always snickering.
So again, like a common theme, but it's like you get a dog and a hat.
I think you do get the dog.
We'll round up and say that the dog comes with it. So you get like,
for sure.
He's your co-pilot. He's like the caddy.
Yeah. If you definitely get the dog. The hat I'll allow, but I don't know if that came with it.
So it just seems cool. Like I like the idea you have this big shark fin. It kind of reminds me of Homer's car that he designs from The Simpsons.
Okay.
Where it's just like a wacky, unique. You have some fun buttons to press, like the oil spill. I think you get like an ejector seat, which is like nothing but impractical. But again,
yes,
fun novelty, cool hat, and a dog. Love this car.
I hear you.
It's nice. It's nice, this car.
For sure.
And kind of leaning on, this is perfect, because like just speaking of getting a cool hat and a dog, that's what made the Mystery Machine so high to me. It's like, well, not only the nostalgia factor of just driving around in this sick van that's like beautifully colored, it's just like, I assume it just comes with like solving mysteries for the rest of my days.
I would say it doesn't. I don't think it comes with solving mysteries. If you want to take Scooby-Doo, I'd allow it, but Scooby-Doo, I would not want Scooby-Doo. He's a talker, man. I don't want that guy.
Oh my god. So if I get this vehicle, I feel like I'm doing a disservice if I'm not just spending the rest of my days solving mysteries and traveling the globe.
I had a kid in high school who loved this Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine so much that he eventually wanted to buy an exact lookalike and hire people to dress up like them and drive him around all day. And I was like, you could just drive yourself around. And he's like, no, I want them to do it. I'm like, this is wild. But that's a garbage tier car in my mind. If you look at the back... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he should collab with Uber and try to get that like a thing. It's like...
Oh...
You that way you can be driven around by like the Scooby Gang.
I honestly think you've hit a great nail on the head. That if you had like a company design cool cars, and like instead of being driven by a limo, like what if you could show up to prom in the Mystery Machine or in like a Oscar Mayer Wiener car or something like that? Like there's a lot of market for that. I think you might be hitting the nail on the head with something there.
Thank you.
But for me, the Mystery Machine ends up in the back of Garbo. So there's kind of themes to like the segments of my list. It's Nice is a lot of things that feel like it would be fun to drive, but not like feasible, like not cars. A lot of them are like kind of like motorcycle-y type of things, or like the Bowser thing. The back half of Garbo, it is like kind of like it's as good as like a normal car. And then the front half of Shadow Realm are like normal cars, but there's like a big catch to each of them. So for me, the Mystery Machine kind of fits in. It's kind of like a normal car.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my thought process on it. I have obviously the Wacky Racer at the end of Garbo because it's kind of a normal car, but it's got cool gadgets. But it also looks like garbage. And the dog, I already have a dog who's awesome. I don't need Gromit or whoever this guy is. I would like to talk about what both of us have decided. It seems like if we were making a tier list, our S tier or highest pick would be the Magic School Bus. And now I have reasons that I've put this as my best pick. Okay. But I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on it.
So, what I liked about it is it has magic in its name. So, I mean, that's already pretty cool. And in the picture we have here, it's like it's shooting a giant flame out of its back, and it's like kind of flying.
It's got wings too. Yep.
So, I mean, this thing just seemed like just having a magic bus, because it's like, okay, it's a bus, so there's enough room to bring like the whole gang, and it's magic, and I'm pretty sure it's educational. Like, I'm always gonna get a life lesson if I go anywhere with this. If I need to like run to the store and just like pick up some yogurt, and I take this thing, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna also have taken a trip to like 14th century Asia, and I've just learned like a life lesson while also picking up some yogurt.
Right.
So
for me, I think you hit a lot of the nails on the head here. For me, this bus, and you look at that picture, he's got eyes too. And if I remember correctly from this cartoon, the behavior of the bus is similar to what a dog would be like. Like, I think it doesn't interact or speak or behave like a human. It's almost just like, let's go for a ride, man. Like, it's like very puppy like. I like it as a puppy. I don't like it as a human. If it's like, would you like to get inside of me and I'll take you on a trip? Like, I don't need that. I just want it to be like, if it's like a happy little companion, I'm cool with that. Because man's best friend is not his car that speaks like Owen Wilson. It's a dog. So the other thing is, like, this thing is the most powerful vehicle on this list, and that's including the DeLorean time machine. It can go through time itself. It time travels in episodes. It shrinks and grows. It goes in outer space and is able to maintain cabin pressure. It goes in like your bloodstream. You have cancer? Don't worry. I got you. I can use the technology of this bus paired with technology that we already have and be like a nanobot eliminating cancer in someone's body. There's so much positives to this bus. It's unbelievable. So that is why, to me, this is like the ideal God tier in this list, for sure. And I think you made an excellent choice putting it in your God tier as well.
Yeah, definitely not as strong as Lightning McQueen in my eyes, but definitely good.
You're wild.
Okay, here's the one I'm seeing. My Garbo, high-end Garbo, but in my Garbo, and in your God tier, is the Batmobile. Like the most recent, the Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale Batmobile.
Right.
I'm not a fan of this thing so high. I want to hear why it's so high for you.
So for me, it's kind of on the edge of God tier, and it's nice. It has similar things to the other It's Nice cars, where it's like, it's cool to drive, I think. The way it moves, I think it drives like up a wall, or like, I think it goes up a wall and then the tires flip over and then it lands on the other side. Oh no, that's the motorcycle that's inside of it. So that's the other bonus. The motorcycle shoots out of it and you can be on a motorcycle instead, and the motorcycle can drive up a wall and like flip around, and then all of a sudden you're facing the other way or whatever. They both have a lot of guns on them. So you get the 2-for-1. You get a lot of weaponry, which I wouldn't really need.
Weaponry?
I wouldn't need it, but like, why do people go to a gun range and shoot guns? What if I just want to go to a range and shoot off a missile, you know? So it has some cool stuff, and it's cool. Like, people would be like, what the hell? That's crazy that you have that. That's cool. And so that's a benefit to it as well. And, you know, you could drive it in any weather. You know, it's very durable. You crash with this thing, you're fine. Guess what? Hey, insurance, I'm fine. You crash, the other car might not be so fun, but you'll be fine. You just get insurance that protects the other people. That's all you need. And it's just like it's kind of on the edge of God tier, and it's nice. I'll acknowledge that. But it would be fun to drive, and then you have a second bonus car in it. A lot of positives for me in this one. It has an eject button, which you were very high on. So I don't know how the eject button for Wallace and Gromit's car up there is pro, and then for the Garbo tier, you're like, Batman's, man, eject button's garbage. All the gadgets and oil slicks Batman's car has, garbage.
Oh my
it's
God.
so much better in Wacky Racers Mobile.
So my thing with the Batmobile is I've seen this on like a few, at least one Facebook group, like it's a small town like local Facebook group. But someone dresses up like Batman, and they have like a old muscle car or something. But anyways, they made it like look like a Batmobile, and so they always go around and like see kids, bring joy to kids.
That sounds amazing.
Oh my gosh, I don't want kids just flocking me every time I'm running Target.
Oh my God, imagine you pull up to like the leukemia ward at a hospital, they're all looking out the window as you pull up, you get out and you're like, I'm Batman, and they're like, oh my God, he has a car, it's really him.
My God, and then all of a sudden,
that's so nice.
The leukemia
and then you get
ward gets robbed, and then I have to go and like, they're like, Batman, do something, and like, what do you want me to do?
No, then you jump in your magic school bus and you cure them all of their diseases. You'll be fine. You get both. It's
also,
great.
I don't know what kind of gas, like that thing was burned through gasoline.
One of your God tier, one of your vehicles eats gasoline. Literally.
I said I'd feed it hay.
It doesn't eat hay.
I don't know. I've never seen the Cars movies, but I imagine in the cinematic universe they eat hay.
No, you'd imagine incorrectly.
Oh.
I gotta ask you though. The only one of my God tier we haven't spoken about, the DeLorean, very easily like the second most powerful car here, because it can time travel. You are like, it's nice. It's slightly nicer than having a nice sports car with a freaking cougar in it.
So with the DeLorean, this is just something that like maybe it isn't an issue to other people, but like with these doors, like you can't park too close near things. So like the door, you can't open the door.
Marta, you don't even have to park at all. The thing flies.
Oh my gosh! And then another.
The tires turn sideways, and you can fly around.
So I haven't seen the Back to the Future movies. Talked about it earlier. I don't see movies too often, but I know this one has like a flux. Very popular, this one, but I know it has like a flux capacitor or something. If I ever like went back in time or something, and something on this car broke, I would be screwed. Like there's no way I can fix this car with my own two hands to get it back to my time.
The extra scientific aspects you would not have the knowledge to fix because they're fake and that science doesn't exist. But all the car mechanics you would be able to fix because that car is a real car that existed.
Yeah, if I go back, I mean, maybe someone with car knowledge can fix it. But like, if I go back in time to like the dinosaurs, I'm like, ooh, I want to like, just post on my Instagram story.
I get what you're saying.
I'm not going to be able to like fix this thing, and now I'm just stuck with T-Rexes.
Yeah, but now you're getting into a whole nother issue. Guess what? Lightning McCoy's broken, and he's just dying in your driveway, and he's like, buddy, you gotta help me. And he's just dying.
Yeah,
you crash Lightning McCoy, and you go to jail for murder.
What do you mean? Of course I bring him to the shop, and they can fix him because he's a car.
No, he doesn't open up.
What do you mean? Of course he would.
He has a mouth there.
Of course he would. I mean, maybe I go to a doctor then, or like a vet. I don't know. But I can bring Lightning McQueen to somebody. I can't be like, yo, Mr. Dinosaur. Like, I can't go find the Geico caveman and be like, hey, my car's broken.
Sure, but that's a lot of assumptions about all these cars. Like half of these cars we don't have the technology to fix in the real world. Yeah. Oh, all right. You got me on that one.
I mean,
hit me with the big
thinking, in my list, these are the pros weighed with the cons.
My guy's got a freaking Tron bicycle in his God tier, and he's like, we can't fix the DeLorean though.
I imagine if someone manufactured it, I could bring it to be fixed somewhere. Versus if I go back in time and there's only dinosaurs.
Hey, Go to the future. Well, if you go back in time, you're really going forward in time. Just tell R2D2 to fix it.
All right. What's another one that's sticking out to you on this?
Well, I've got a couple here. I want to talk about my front four or so of my Shadow Realm in relation to where you have a lot of these vehicles. First one, not so different. You have it in Garbo. This is the car from Dumb and Dumber. The Mutts and Cuts, I think it's called, car. My problem with this car, and you probably have a similar problem because you don't have it too high, but my problem was like, it's just a car. It's a cool looking car. So it would be like where Oscar Mayer Wiener is, or maybe even the Turtles car, because I don't really know what superpowers that car has. I know it has some benefits, but Speed Racer, Oscar Mayer Wiener, they're regular cars, but really weird and cool looking. So originally I was thinking there, but I'm like, what about when it rains? Like, that's all fur. Like, that seems terrible to me. So that was my, and again, I said these first four are kind of regular cars, but with drawbacks. What were your thoughts on this Mutts and Cuts?
Yeah, so on the Mutts and Cuts thing, so my Shadow Realm is mostly things where it's just like, this is just so freaking impractical. Like, there's no reason I'd ever want this.
Somehow the RV from Breaking Bad is impractical.
And I'd love to get to that in a second. But with this Mutts and Cuts thing, I was just thinking, it's like, it's still a car. It's still fun. I'm going to be on the highway, and if someone sees this, like, I'll spark some joy in their day. So that seems fun.
Yeah. Can I just get a detour here really quickly before we go into the other couple I wanted to talk about here on A-Team and Breaking Bad car and how they're terrible.
Yeah. Okay, A-Team is nice and simple. It's an old van. You know the gas mileage on those things. In this economy,
you think that the Mutts and Cuts car has good gas mileage?
I'm gonna bring joy to people when they see the Mutts and Cuts things. People are gonna look at this and be like, "Oh, it's a van." Like, I gotta make sure not to be too close with them because that van has no windows and that's sketchy.
That's true.
Okay, the RV from Breaking Bad. I'm glad you brought this up because I was going to. This is an RV filled with the drugs and drug-making apparatuses. So, like, if I ever get pulled over, I'm going away for a long time in this thing.
You can just, like, clear it out and just have an RV. And so that's where it ended up for me. I was like, it's like a regular car. So it was in Garbo. But then I was like, I'd much rather have an RV, I think, than some of these other cars. Maybe not the Fast and Furious car. But an RV, I'm like, now I could go, like, camping or something. Like, it has some uses for me that other cars, because I have a normal car already. So I thought that's why I put it there, because I get your worry about this drug paraphernalia, but you just get rid of that.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, it has its uses. Like, it's also a second income because you're peddling drugs now. But
yeah, it could be the car that makes you the most money.
So that's why, yeah, for sure. So I was like, yeah, I don't want that blood on my hands.
Okay,
so that's
those
why
are fair.
It's in the bottom of the Shadow Realm.
That's fair. So the other two we already talked about Knight Rider there, but in the beginning here, I want to talk about the Talladega Nights car with the Cougar in it. For me, it's like a sports car, so it's kind of like Fast and Furious, and then it's just like, but there's a Cougar in it. And you have to, it's tough to tame that Cougar. He doesn't have an easy time doing that. So just for having that problem, like, I'm not on board. And honestly, I don't know if you have the stones to tango with this Cougar.
Ooh. One, disrespectful, yet fair. But I like to think, like, it made Ricky Bobby a better man for that. And, like, you know, smooth seas never made a skilled sailor. So I appreciate this opportunity of driving around with a Cougar.
I don't think you'd get in the car.
Oh, 100%. Because the Cougar's not driving for me.
Right, but I think you'd just be like, I have a car already.
So that's the way I looked at it. It comes with a Cougar. Kind of like how the Wacky Riders comes with the dog and Mystery Machine comes with Scooby-Doo. This comes with a Cougar.
What I will say is it's illegal to own a Cougar, so you're riding with just as much danger as Breaking Bad.
If I would have factored that in, I would have knocked it down a peg. But imagining I drive this somewhere where Cougars are legal, I have all the paperwork.
Right. I don't know that place exists, but the final one here, it's inconvenient for me to take the Dukes of Hazzard car, the General Lee, because I would have to repaint it. You can't drive around with a Confederate flag on your car. It's also named the General Lee, which is like, a little bit rough too, but like I could rename it. But you can never drive it around how it looks now.
No, it's definitely a period piece. This one, so I had my mediocre as fuck because I'm like, this is just a cool car. It's like,
Right.
Like you said, you give it a quick paint job.
You gotta paint it.
It's a period piece, you know, like for nostalgic purposes, like hang this in the Smithsonian.
Please don't. Do you have anything? I have one. My final. Actually, I have two other ones I want to touch on before we end. But do you have anything that you'd like to bring up?
So I got the boatmobile higher than you. Mine's
Yes.
top. It's nice. Yours is kind of middle. And
I thought you'd like this one.
So I like it because it's a boat and a car. Like that's just 2 for 1. Like I could summertime's coming. I bring this to the lake and I just literally drive into the water.
Right.
That's cool.
And I think that is cool. That's how it ended up. Like I said, for me, Garbo was kind of like my average, and then mediocre as fuck is like this is slightly better than like a regular car. And so for me, this one I was like, it has 2 functions, but it is dorky as hell. Like I wouldn't want to drive around in it, especially unless I was planning to go in the water.
Oh, okay.
That's where I lied with that one. So I got 2 big ones for you here.
Okay.
The first one I want to talk about is in your God tier. It's the final member of your God tier that we haven't talked about, and that is the Tron Light Bike.
Okay.
I'd like you to tell me a little bit about that, because I have a big qualm with this one, and I want to hear if it's something that you've considered.
Okay, so the Tron Light Bike, fast. You're gonna look cool. You're always gonna have Daft Punk playing anytime you're on this thing. But I like also like nobody can ride on your ass. No one's gonna like tailgate you too hard because they're gonna just get like a laser beam straight to the face and blow up their vehicle. So I appreciate that. Like I can be like the most aggressive driver, and like if someone's gonna try to pull me over again, they're gonna hit the laser beam. So that just seemed cool.
Right. Now I'm gonna put you in a scenario here, Mario.
Okay.
You've driven down a dead-end street. Skinny street. There's driveways and stuff to turn around in. What do?
You just do a U-turn. It's a motorcycle. Like, you know,
it's a very long motorcycle. I can't do a U-turn. The street is too skinny to do a U-turn.
I will, like, K-turns with this thing, pretty impractical. Like,
you go into the first part of the K, and then when you back up, you have destroyed your vehicle on a laser. And that was my thought. It's like, okay, park in your driveway. Sure, maybe you could do it a couple times. But you just got walls you're laying all around town. This thing is not practical.
I think they go away after a while. Like, there's like a statute of limitations. You know, like, maybe
I think it would be... You would get in a lot of trouble. I think, because even if they stayed for a minute, you're killing every car behind you and leaving a wall. Think you're going 60 miles per hour. So, so in a minute, you could you could leave a mile of wall behind you on the southern state. It's just like, no one can use that lane. And if you're stopped at a light and someone's like, all right, I'll just go behind this cool motorcycle. And then you take off and they drive right after you, they may smash into your light. Or let's say they're merging onto the road and they see you coming. They're like, I'll go right after this guy. You pass, they go, and they're into a laser beam. Yeah, so the amount of damages you'd have to... It's like throwing stuff off the back of your truck. You're responsible. You're liable for all that stuff. So for me, this was like a cool one. You put it on a trailer. You take it to like a field. You do some cool riding with it. And it turns on like a dime. So that's cool to me. But this is a safety hazard. So it's not an everyday vehicle. So for me, I was like... It came out of God tier. And it fell out of the fun to ride items to mediocre, which for me is kind of like a little better than a car. If I got a light bike, I'd be like, this is cool. But when you come to the reality of it, I'd be like, wait, maybe it's not as cool as I was thinking it would be.
No, I appreciate that you think that the light bike is too dangerous, so instead we'll have Bumblebee and the Batmobile, which we already talked about, all the weapons of mass destruction that they come with.
Right, but I choose to shoot those. And Bumblebee is a law-abiding citizen, sir. He would never. So I feel pretty confident with those two vehicles. The light bikes, you don't shut that shit off. That thing just goes. And then the final one I have that I want to talk about is in your It's Nice tier, and it's my second to last.
Oh, yep. I was waiting for this one. Yeah,
I don't get where you land with this Flintstone mobile.
So it's Fred Flintstone's vehicle, where you got the big rocks.
Just before you get into it, I think I know where you're gonna go, and I just want to cut it off right away. You just get the car. You don't get Dino the dinosaur in the back. He's not even pictured in this picture. He does not come with this car.
No. Obviously that would have been a nice added bonus, but I didn't even expect it because he's not in the picture.
Okay, now, good to know.
What I'm thinking with this, so I will say, like, this wouldn't be... I would need to have a second vehicle with this, right? Because, like, I'm not taking this on the highway. Like,
right.
You
can go, like, 5 miles per hour.
I don't have the calves for this. But I like to think as, like, just a city driving car. It's like, how freaking jacked would my calves be by the end of just taking this thing for a trip? Like, I'm just taking this to get eggs, to do, like, little shopping, always local. But so I was just thinking, it's like, this is a workout as well as transportation.
Those are really large stones. Fred Flintstone is built like a truck, and he also has cartoon ability. You don't have either of those two things. You would not be able to go 5 miles per hour on this, if at all.
I just want to go back to...
Who wants to do the work?
Oh my gosh, but that's what... It's so rewarding. Like, we talked about in previous episodes... like the video game one, for instance. It's like if you get Kratos' weapons, it's like now you get the power and the knowledge to wield these. So if I get Fred Flintstone's vehicle, I'm going to have the cav power, and they're only going to get stronger as I continue to drive my car.
If that's the case, you are now Owen Wilson. You are the car.
Only positives. Only positives here. I'm Owen Wilson with Fred Flintstone cav.
I will allow you to, even if I had the power and ability to move that car at a reasonable speed, like 40 miles per hour or something, and that would be limited to me being in the car. I can't be like, but just imagine if I could move that car at 40, now I run 100. That's not fair. If I'm in the car, I can move at 40.
Only in the car. Only in the car.
I don't want to do that much work. You just work a long day, you get home, and it's like, you get in your car, and it's like time to run 60 miles home. Like, that doesn't sound fun. And if you want to have a fun manual labor type of thing, that's why Super Monkey Ball is there. You know, go have a blast, roll around, be a fun monkey.
Oh my gosh.
Man, too much work.
A big fatal flaw that the Flintstones vehicle has is that the brake system is like your heels are going to be scorched.
Yeah.
That I'll admit. But again, I'm thinking I just got these huge Fred Flintstone calves.
Yeah, I'll give it to you, but I don't know, man. A lot of work. I know you, and I don't think you're ready to put in the work. You got 1 day of driving that car in you.
People at home don't know that, though.
Well, those are our tiers, everybody. For those of you watching, you can see them. For those of you listening at home, you can guess where we put all the other vehicles that were on this list. Or you can tune in on YouTube just to get a quick look at it. Just skip to the end of the video. You'll see them.
Yes, we will also make sure to tweet them out. You can follow our Twitter.
There you go.
I'm going to link everything here. If you want to follow our Twitter, it is real, not a comp, is the Twitter handle. Give us a follow. I'm going to post the final images of both of our brackets. So you can
there you go.
Because even though it's not a competition, you can say who had the better bracket.
Right. Magic School Bus bracket. But anyway, thank you all for listening. We'll see you next week with some more tier list brackets and some more Will You Press the Button. And Mario, enjoy your week.
Wow. Thanks. You too, Brady, and you too at home. Peace.
All right.